So today we're going to be doing the volume of prisms. Okay, so volume is the amount of space the solid encloses. So we've been doing surface area as if you're wrapping these 3D shapes in paper. Volume is if you are going to fill it up with water, fill it up with something. Say it's cubic units. So when you find the volume of a prism, the formula is the area of the base, so big B, so that's the same as surface area. Big B represents area of the base, and it's times height. So with height, imagine stacking multiple bases over and over. That'll give you that whole volume. So I'll do a little demonstration in class tomorrow about that. Cavalari's principle is just saying if they have the same base area and the same height, the volumes will be the same. And if they have the, yes. Okay, so to find the volume of this prism, big B represents the area of the base. So just like with surface area of a prism, it changes depending on what the prism is. So this is a pentagonal prism. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to find the area of that. And what I remember is the formula for a polygon is 1/2 AP. So they gave me 3.4 millimeters for my apothem, so that's nice. I'm going to go 1/2 A, 3.4. And then P is, they gave me the side was 5. So my perimeter is 5 times 5, so 25. So when I multiply these all together, I get 42.5 millimeters squared. Okay. Now the height of the prism is 8 millimeters. And now be careful, what's different between volume and surface area is that I am multiplying these two numbers now. So I'm going to take the 8 and the 42.5 and I'm going to be multiplying them to get 340 millimeters squared. So, or millimeters cubed, I'm sorry. Okay. So again, the reason that this is cubic, when you multiply the numbers, you also multiply the units. So if I look back over here, this is 42.5 millimeters squared times 8 millimeters. Millimeters squared times millimeters to the first power is millimeters cubed. So volume is always in cubic millimeters. Okay. Now here's another one. So big B is area of the base, and the base is a triangle, so 1/2 base times height. So to help me out, I'm going to draw a picture of this. So this is the base, and it looks like each side is 14 centimeters by the these tick marks here. So that's an equilateral triangle. So when I figure out the base, it's 1/2 base, so that'd be 14, just the length of the side, and the height I need to figure out. So if this is an equilateral triangle, that means it's equiangular, which forces all these angles to be the same. And when I draw my height, my altitude, I divide that in half, so that's 30. So 14 cut in half is 7. So using my 30, 60, 90 rules, I multiply by radical 3 to get the height. So my height is 7 radical 3. I multiply that out, excuse me, 84.9, and then we're in centimeters squared. Then the height of my prism is 22 centimeters. So then I'm going to multiply 22 centimeters times the 84.9 centimeters squared to get a grand total of 1,867.8 centimeters cubed for my volume. Okay. Amp it up a little bit. We need to find the cubic yards of cement that are required for a 60-foot long driveway that is 8 inches thick and 30 feet wide. So this makes things complicated because if you look at these units here, we need to find cubic yards. We're given lengths in feet, inches, and more feet. So that makes things a little more difficult, more complicated, because I need to figure out what that is in cubic yards. So I need it in cubic yards, so my goal is to change everything to cubic yards. Okay. So there are 3 feet in a yard, so I'm going to convert my 20 feet and my 60 feet first. And the way I do that, to get the length, I take the 20 feet divided by 3 to have that in yards. So that's the that converted into yards. And then here, I'm going to take 60 feet divided by 3. And then the length of the driveway is 20 yards. And the 8 inches is probably the most difficult to figure out because I have to convert it into feet and then into yards. So I'm going to just write this over here. So 8 inches, if I were to convert that into feet, I would need to divide that by 12, since there are 12 inches in a foot. So if I reduce that, 4 goes into both, that would be 2/3. So this is 2/3 of not a yard, but only feet now. And then I need to change that into yards. So 2/3 feet into yards, there are 3 feet in a yard. So I could either divide this by 3, but the same thing as dividing by 3 is multiplying by 1/3. That's the exact same thing. So what I'm left with for my units then would be 2/9. 2 times 1, 3 times 3, 2/9 of a yard is the thickness of the cement driveway. So half the battle on this one is just trying to change the units. So now I'm going to need to find the area of the base. Since it's a rectangular prism, you get to choose what your base is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose this as my base. And my base is a rectangle, so base times height. So what I'm going to do is not use 20 feet, but I'm going to do 20/3, because that's what this length was, times 20. And that'll be base times my height of just the base. And then when I multiply that out, I get 133.3 square yards. And then the height is that little bit there, that really skinny part of it, which is what we figured out was 2/9 of a yard. So I do 2/9 of a yard. And then for to figure out the total volume, 2/9 of a yard times 133.3 yards squared, would be the grand total of 29.6 cubic yards. So your units were fairly difficult on that one. Example 4 is an algebra problem. Okay. What do people mess up? They mess up what the bases are. Remember, your bases are parallel. So this is a base, and this is a base of your prism. So your base is a triangle, so 1/2 base times height. So to figure out the area of my base of just this, since this is a right triangle, I'll go 1/2 base 6 times height. So when I multiply that out, I get 30 meters squared. And then for my height, that's what my h is. They don't know. We don't know what that is, so I have to figure it out. So I'm just going to put an h there. I'm going to write it there as well. Write in the 30, and they gave me the volume is 690 meters cubed. So what I'm going to do is solve this algebra problem, which actually really isn't that bad. Because it's just 30 times h equals 690. So you just divide by 30 to get h along. So your height is 23 meters. Doesn't really look that way, but that's what it is. Next one is a composite figure. A composite figure involves one or two or more prisms. So this is the plan. You've done these problems with area before. Like, this is what you did with area. Like, you need to find the shaded. So if you need to find the shaded of that, you would find the area of the whole thing, and then you would subtract out the middle. That's exactly what you're going to do here, only it's volume. So this is the plan. I'm going to find the volume of this whole rectangular prism, like if it was totally filled in. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract out this prism in the middle. Because that's hollow. They didn't show like those, maybe it's easier to see with the dash, but this is the hollow part of that prism. I don't know if that helps. That I'm going to subtract out. So this is like the inside prism. That's what I mean by that. And the full. So for the volume of a full prism, that's the area of the base times the height. So the area of the base is just a square. So that's an 8 by 8 square. So it's 8 squared. So side squared times the height, which is 14. So if I do 8 squared times 14, I get 896 centimeters cubed. And then the inside prism is also a prism, so it's going to use the same formula. But this I have to kind of do a little more work with figuring out what the dimensions are with this. So this little guy over here, notice that it says 2 centimeters like thickness in between here. So if I have 2 centimeters on the left and 2 on the right, and this whole side is 8, that's going to make this part 4. So if I were to just draw this, picture that as that prism inside. So if I have, this whole length is 8, and I have 2 here and 2 here, this is going to be 4. And it's the same thing going on the other side. Like that's 2 centimeters, so this is 4 as well. So the area of the base here is side squared, so 4 squared. And then with the height, since it goes through the whole thing, like it's going through that whole prism, that's going to stay the same. That's going to be 14. So when you multiply, you get 224 centimeters cubed. So then to find the total volume, this is hollow, that blue, so I need to take that away from my full prism. So in order to figure out the total volume, I'm going to take the full prism, 896, and subtract out blue, subtract out the 224 to get a grand total of 672 centimeters cubed. And that's volume.